The disappearance and death of her little girl, Taylor Rose Williams.
Behind bars, accused of aggravated child abuse and lying to police and tampering with evidence.
This is an unbelievable case, as a BDSM mom tortures her daughter and lets her rot in a maggot-filled closet. A shocking tale that will leave you speechless, revealing the darkest depths of human depravity. Join us as we delve into the darkest corners of the human psyche. Prepare to be shocked and horrified as we uncover the chilling details. But before we go into this tragic story, let's go back to where it all started. This is Solved Files, a place where crime stories are being brought to your doorstep. What are you waiting for? Just hit the subscribe button for more fascinating and suspense-filled crime stories. Now let's get back into this story and uncover this mystery. The blossoming life of an angelic little girl. Taylor Rose Williams was born on February 12, 2014, in Leon, Alabama, to Brianna Shante Williams and Maurice Tate. The sweet young Taylor had black hair that was typically pulled back into braids. Her large brown eyes gleamed in every photo she appeared in. She frequently wore a lot of pink clothing and sported vibrantly colored barrettes, bows, or beads in her hair. Photos of Taylor demonstrate that she loved playing with plush animals and splashing around in the pool from a very young age. Meanwhile, Maurice, Taylor's father, played football for the Linden Patriots as a linebacker while attending Linden High School. After graduation in 2008, he spent 3 seasons with the Alabama State Hornets. Later, after graduating from college, he settled in Montgomery and started working as a truck driver. At Linden High School, where Taylor's mother, Brianna, was an honor student, she was the class of 2010's valedictorian and homecoming queen. She did, however, belong to the National Beta Club's FCCLA. In addition to being a majorette in the marching band and a flute player for her school, she was one of 5 high school seniors to receive the prestigious Linden Knight Scholarship. After graduating, Brianna intended to attend Alabama A&M University in Huntsville to study mechanical engineering. However, she joined the U.S. Navy in November of 2012. Maurice and Brianna met in high school, fell in love, and gave birth to Taylor. Taylor and her mother relocated to Florida in April 2018, when Taylor was around 4 years old, to be near Brianna's station. She was now assigned to the Tactical Operations Center at NAS Jacksonville as a petty officer. She had served in 2 deployments overseas and had received 9 decorations for her efforts by the time she was 27 years old, including the National Defense Service Medal and the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. However, Brianna and Taylor resided at Jacksonville's Southside Villas apartment complex, located on Southside Boulevard. They stayed there for a while before Brianna relocated again to a new apartment in the Jacksonville community of Brentwood, which is 60 miles distant, on Ivy Road in November 2019. And this was where things took a horrible turn. A few days after moving, on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, at around 7:20 a.m., Brianna called the police with the worst-case scenario that any parent might have. Her child was missing. This was indeed unbelievable for Brianna. Apparently, Brianna had woken up earlier that morning and she had found the back door unlocked, and Taylor, who was now 5 years old, was gone. She stated that she had last seen Taylor at around midnight when she went to check on her in bed. When they saw that Brianna, clad in her military fatigues, was crying and had difficulty speaking, the police immediately swung into action. The search. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released a 5-year-old Taylor missing persons report an hour after the initial contact with police. A Florida Amber Alert was issued later that morning for the missing girl, and a $4,000 prize was put up for any information leading to her location. Her last sighting was of her wearing purple and pink sleeve pajamas. She was described as 3 feet tall, 50 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. Meanwhile, the investigators were speaking with Brianna to understand the circumstances leading up to Taylor's disappearance. Brianna informed them that on October 31st, 2019, she drove to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to pick up Taylor from her mother's residence. She clarified that, throughout October, her mother had been looking after Taylor. When the investigators inquired as to Taylor's daycare location for the previous few months, Brianna replied that Taylor was attending childcare at the Jacksonville Naval Air Station. However, she clarified that she took Taylor out of daycare and drove her back and forth to Alabama so her mother could take care of her when her work schedule changed. Investigators discovered some discrepancies in Brianna's statement. After reviewing the documents, they soon discovered that, until April 10th, 2019, Taylor had attended kindergarten, a Jacksonville daycare. Following that, April 29th was her last day of daycare on the naval base, and she had not had any daycare records for the previous 6 months. Surprisingly, Taylor's grandparents on both sides of the family denied seeing her for more than a year. The last time Brianna's mother saw Taylor was in January, and she explicitly said that she had not been caring for Taylor for the previous 12 months. What is Brianna hiding? And what happened to the little girl? Maurice, Taylor's father, concurred that he hadn't seen his daughter in a long time. Instantly, Brianna ceased cooperating with authorities when they pointed out the contradictions in her statement. In response, Brianna said, "I'm over this. My mama would not say that. I just want my baby home. This has gone too far." After learning that her mother had denied seeing Taylor for months, she refused to cooperate anymore and to respond to any additional inquiries. She spent a total of 11 hours in the interview room while her daughter was being looked for by detectives without her assistance. According to Brianna's sister, throughout the past 6 months, Brianna has been seeing a new man who may be able to provide some insight into Taylor's disappearance. The cops spoke with a neighbor who also resided at the Southside Villa apartment complex during the initial investigation. Carlos Johnson, the witness, explained that he was typically at home during the day because he worked the night shift. Owing to his schedule and proximity to Brianna's apartment, he had become acquainted with Brianna, her daughter Taylor, their vehicle, and her daily arrivals and departures. Several times, Carlos reported to the police that he saw young Taylor wandering the apartment building by herself. On April 17, 2019, a date he could still clearly recall, he observed this for the first time in the morning while on the phone, wishing his mother a happy birthday. While having a phone conversation on his balcony outside, he noticed Taylor making his way up the steps from the breezeway. She had a doll in her arms and was dressed in pink and purple pajamas. But when he asked, "Hey sweetie, what are you doing?" she answered, "I'm looking for my mama." After hanging off the phone, he led Taylor back to her apartment, number 205. Additionally, Carlos reported to the police that he had seen a lot of boxes and trash bags stacked inside the flat. Before he departed, he made sure Taylor locked the house from the inside. Carlos revealed to the police that he saw Taylor staying in her apartment by herself every other day and that she would wave to him from inside. Furthermore, he also saw that she was carrying her doll and wearing the same pajamas every time. He observed that Brianna's vehicle was not in the parking lot throughout these periods. Also, he reported to the police that Brianna would frequently return home between 6:30 and 7 p.m. with meals that appeared to be intended for only one person. In May 2019, he spotted Taylor outside the apartment at least twice more, and on May 21st, he last saw Brianna and Taylor together. Brianna reportedly informed Carlos that Taylor was in Alabama with her grandparents when he inquired about her whereabouts on a few occasions. Finally, he informed the detectives that he did not see Taylor at all during the final week of October 2019, when he observed Brianna preparing to move out of her residence. Another witness, Tiffany Nicole, stated that on that previous Sunday, she and her fiancé had responded to a Craigslist ad offering to assist Brianna with moving from her old apartment to her new one. Tiffany claimed that it appeared as if she had just been evicted because there was trash all over the place, old food all over the floor, and signs of a child staying underneath the couches. One of the things Tiffany revealed was that she assisted in moving a toddler bed. Tiffany additionally stated she never saw Taylor, which she considered weird, but she added, "We never heard a child. We never saw a child. Nothing at all. I assumed that the youngster was either with a friend or at daycare so that she could clean out her apartment." Additionally, she said that after helping to unload the boxes at the new apartment, Brianna paid them more than they should have, and showed no signs of hurrying back to the old apartment where she claimed her daughter had been earlier. The twisted turn of events. On Monday, the Jacksonville sheriff declared Brianna to be the main suspect, and her black 2017 Honda Accord was among the important items taken from her apartment building. Now that they had a search warrant, investigators were able to access the GPS log files in the car's navigation system by using data recovery equipment. The data extraction provided the detectives with the vehicle's previous locations and movements, enabling them to determine with near precision where Brianna had driven the automobile in the final days and weeks before Taylor vanished. Investigators were directed to a wooded region situated between the towns of Linden and Demopolis by the movement of Brianna's car. After erecting a perimeter and starting a grid search, they quickly came across a depressing discovery. Things were starting to take a far darker turn than we could ever have imagined. On Tuesday, the Demopolis Police Department said that they had discovered the remains of a kid. Before verifying the identity of the body, officials were awaiting results from forensic examinations at that time. Most importantly, Brianna, Taylor's mother, was the target of an arrest warrant issued. However, Brianna was flown to a hospital by helicopter from the Naval Air Station a few hours after the discovery of the human remains. Apparently, when she learned that her daughter's remains had been discovered, she reportedly attempted to permanently remove herself from the suspect list by taking Arm & Hammer laundry detergent. Eventually, she was arrested and charged with absenteeism while still in severe condition at the hospital. She was charged with 2 charges of criminal child maltreatment and providing false information to the police. Her bail was set at $1.1 million, and she was later transferred from the hospital to the DeFall County Jail. On November 25th, a DNA test verified that the child's body discovered in the forest outside Demopolis was that of 5-year-old Taylor. An autopsy report released subsequently provides a bleak picture of Taylor's health. Her body was described as decomposing and skeletonized. As a result of the decomposition, Taylor appeared to have died for weeks or possibly months, as only portions of her head, ribs, and longer bones were discovered. The degraded condition of the fragmentary skeleton rendered it unable to provide conclusive evidence of violence or cause of death. However, the medical examiner indicated that the way the body was discovered was indicative of homicide. In addition, a waist bag and a shower curtain were wrapped around the torso. The remains featured ripped and soiled child's clothing with the write-up, "BU." Investigators also discovered pieces of plastic fabric, 3 types of rope, blue gloves, a knife, cardboard, wire, documents, and a punch drink can. According to the research, the condition of Taylor's teeth and bone lesions on the roof of her mouth could be linked to anemia or an interruption of normal bone growth caused by disease, trauma, or nutritional inadequacies. But that's not all, because the police were about to discover something more shocking. Brianna's former apartment and car were searched, and even more frightening evidence was found. Investigators discovered the apartment in complete chaos, with 166 boxes and bags of debris heaped everywhere. There was a distinct odor of urine, excrement, and decay. Detectives discovered bloodstains in 6 areas on Brianna's carpet and walls that proved positive for Taylor's DNA. They discovered various items of children's clothing smeared with excrement, as well as cans of soup and fruit with little holes punched in them, which appeared to be Brianna's method of feeding Taylor, assuming she did feed her. 2 birth certificates were also recovered on the apartment floor. A crime scene detective who examined the apartment discovered feces stains on a bed's carpet and inside a cupboard containing numerous cleaning supplies, as well as a urine remover nearby. Investigators concluded that Brianna would lock her in the closet based on the evidence they collected. Regarding Brianna's car, it had an untidy interior stuffed with clothes and other random items. More filthy clothes, excrement, dead maggots, and an assortment of adult toys were found by investigators. On the other hand, the trunk area was vacant. Police were informed by several friends and family members that Brianna had previously complained to them about her daughter hiding food and that the kid had received a timeout as punishment. According to a former co-worker at the Navy station, Brianna was into BDSM and was crazy and dangerous around guys. No one at work even realized that Brianna was a mother, according to another co-worker. On the other hand, Peter Sweeney, a different neighbor, testified that she had seen Taylor with her mother before and that, except for her unusual appearance, Taylor seemed to be an ordinary little girl. She added that she had heard a small child weeping one evening, but that was the last time she heard from her before April, when she ended her visitation with the child. Peta also reported that at that time she smelled something foul, like rotting, coming from the storage closet. When police investigators looked through Brianna's calendar and mobile phone records, they discovered further evidence. She had traveled to Alabama 3 times. Additionally, according to her phone records, she called 2 different guys while in Alabama. On October 31st, she also called her mother, asking her to lie on her behalf when questioned about whether Taylor had been with them. Though not everyone believed Brianna was guilty, Harold Rogers, a relative whose sister is Brianna's great-aunt, claimed to have known Brianna when she was a little child. He remarked, "Brianna is a beautiful person in my opinion, and I still trust her despite the things that happened. She also inspired me because she is a kind person. How could a person so sweet, kind, and innocent end up in trouble like this?" Brianna had her first court appearance on January 8, 2020, and pleaded not guilty to charges of child maltreatment and lying to the police. In March, new accusations were filed against her. She could not be charged with homicide because the autopsy could not determine the cause of death firmly. Brianna was later charged with aggravated CA because she knowingly tormented, cruelly punished, or willfully trapped a youngster. She was also charged with evidence tampering for destroying or removing evidence and transporting human remains for an investigation. Meanwhile, the evidence against Brianna was characterized as being extensive and comprised thousands of photos and security footage from more than 24 sites. Brianna's electronic trail also included GPS tracking from her automobile, petrol station receipts, Craigslist ads, and Google searches, where she searched for information about malnutrition. Moreover, security images revealed that in the days preceding her report of her daughter missing, she had made visits to 2 car washes on November 2nd and November 4th. The shocking discovery. Following the defense's analysis of the excessive quantity of evidence, Brianna and her attorneys decided against a jury trial for her prior crimes. Rather, on March 3rd, 2022, 3 years after Taylor's body was secretly buried in that isolated woodland region, she entered a guilty plea to homicide. In her statement before the court, Brianna acknowledged that she was solely to blame for Taylor's demise and acknowledged that she had lied while reporting her daughter missing. She told the judge that she was too afraid to read her closing statement out loud, so one of the defense attorneys did it instead. "I apologize to everyone impacted by this tragedy. I knew what I did was wrong. I failed as a mother, a protector, and a decent human being. I didn't call the police right away, and when I did, I lied, an opportunity to record my wrongs. Since losing my baby, I've been tormented and punished daily. I attempted to flee the law, but I'm not pleading for sympathy. I deserve all that I've gone through in the last 3 years, both emotionally and outwardly. I lost the most significant person in my life and myself, and I take full responsibility for everything. I voluntarily admitted to murder, and I placed all the blame on myself." Brianna's defense team requested that she serve the mandatory 25-year term during the sentencing hearing. The autopsy was unable to determine Taylor's exact cause of death, although the evidence suggested that she had starved to death. The verdict. The judge sentenced Brianna to life in prison on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022, for the second-degree murder of 5-year-old Taylor. She was moved to the Women's Assessment Center in Ocala, where prisoners usually spend weeks being screened before being assigned to a prison, and then to the Florida Department of Corrections. However, a few weeks after Taylor's death was discovered, on November 23, 2019, a candlelight vigil was organized in Jacksonville in her honor. Safe Haven, an organization dedicated to shielding kids from harm, served as the event's host. The following evening, Loco Park in Mandarin hosted another vigil. In Taylor's honor, those in attendance donated money to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Eventually, a memorial monument with the words, "In loving memory, safe in the arms of God, Taylor Rose Williams," was erected close to the spot where Taylor's body was discovered. From February 12, 2014 to October 10, 2019, those who are blessed and have a pure heart will see God. Matthew 58. Now, why bring a child into this world when you aren't ready for it? What do you think about this case? What would justify a mother treating her child in that manner? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, check out our previous video.